Washington! Hey, how you doing, everybody? This is Big Dave here at DCRTV.com. Oh, it's noisy. Well, it's not noisy around here right now because it's lunch hour. But you know, one of the nice things of living in a condo association is you don't have to worry about the roof and the siding and the painting and the outdoor stuff. That's great, you know. But today is the day, I guess, they're starting to work on the building that I'm living in. So this morning, bright and early, the power washing. You know, you're laying there going, what's that noise? It sounds like the roof's, you know, sounds like there's like a hurricane up on the roof, and you look out and there's some guy up there power washing the roof, and now he power washed the front here, and it's a lot of noise, and then they're going to bang the siding, and then they're going to paint. So it's going to be a fun week. Yeah, trying to get outside my front door without, like, you know, getting hit with a power washer. It's like, ah! All right, folks, how you doing? This is Dave for Monday, the 15th of August, 2011. Let's see, I don't know, what should I start with today? I got a whole bunch of things, a lot of little things. Here's the Washington Post for today. Okay, you know, not a bad little paper, but you got to wonder, you know, here's the back page ad, okay? Dental implants, full page. And then you got another big full page ad on a health fair, kind of one of those things where they, you know, charge you money and they listen to your arteries. I don't know. You got to look at the Post and say, you know, the quality of their ads maybe ain't quite, it's not like defense contractors so much anymore. It's dental implants. You wonder if these guys are paying around same amount of money. And then, of course, the wonderful ad from Verizon, of course, you know, telling about how it's, you know, poor Verizon, how their workers, you know, they just don't deserve the health care coverage and all this other stuff, you know. The nasty workers are already getting paid way too much money, and they're getting too many benefits, and Verizon needs to compete with all the great companies like Comcast, and they need to, you know, cut back the benefits and stuff. I don't know. It's getting nasty out there in terms of the benefit world and all that. What the heck? I don't know. Interesting. Looking at today's New York Times, I'm telling you, man. You look at the cable TV ratings, and I'm not going to refocus the things, and I got to stand around and refocus it. You look at the cable TV ratings for early August. And, you know, the top show was Jersey Shore on MTV. And then we've got shows on TNT, Disney, USA, History, ESPN, TNT, USA, and TNT. Okay, what's missing? Anybody want to guess? What's missing from that listing? Discovery Channel. Discovery Communications runs a dozen networks, and they're never in the top 10. When you look at the top 10 cable network shows, you don't see Discovery Channel, you don't see Animal Planet, you don't see the Science Channel, you don't see, sometimes you see TLC. I mean, you know, maybe Discovery might have one or two shows in that top 10 once in a while, but it's not, it's all other channels. I'm telling you, they don't have the hits over there. Another interesting thing too, and again, you know, you're not going to find this in the Washington Post because probably it's a New York story, but it's in the New York Times. There we go. There's old Randy Michaels there. Where is he? There he is. The guy used to do the Tribune Company and Clear Channel before that. Okay, so the big news today in New York anyway is that 101.9, which used to be a real cool rocker, WRXP, officially flipped over to a news format. Okay, FM news format, and as Randy mentions here, it's geared mainly toward women. It's not that staccato like you hear on KYW with the traffic around the 8s. Blah, 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 blah. It's a more laid-back format, you know, with stuff about lifestyles and stuff that women would be more interested in listening to. Gee, I wonder where Randy got that idea. Oh, everybody's looking at WTOP, you know. Washington's WTOP flipped over to FM a couple years ago. Their ratings have skyrocketed. They, you know, and they do that. They do a more conversational, laid-back-ish type of talk format. And now you're seeing other copycats coming along like Randy, and he's gonna, you know, he's trying to get this format going in New York City and in Chicago. And I think I really do think it will work very well. It's worked well for WTOP, and it's quite cool. WEMP is now the new callers of the station. I like listening to WRXP. I listen to them online all the time. Very cool little radio station there. But as they're saying in here, the rock audience is so splintered and fragmented that commercial radio stations just can't serve the audience anymore. And it's interesting. I'm listening to DC 101, which I've always liked. They do have a nice standard alt rock format, and I'm hearing a lot more of those kind of classic heavy metal bands on there. Heard some classic AC/DC this morning. It just seems like I really think rock and roll, especially in the Washington market's in a tough position. Even DC 101, which gets okay ratings. I mean, they're often in the lower end of the top 10. But you got W Big, which is basically a classic rocker, and you got 105.9 The Edge that just are kind of flailing along. I would not be surprised. Two stations in the market, in the DC market, that could be up for format flips in the not too distant future are 100.3 W Big and 105.9, as we've reported, WVRX. I really think those two stations could be up for format flips, and I think Talk could possibly, Clear Channel could be thinking of putting that talky format on 100.3, and I wouldn't be surprised, as I've said many times before, to see WMAL sometime get an FM relay on 105.9 sometime. I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow. I don't think it's going to happen this month. But I think it's a possibility. And another station I've heard as a possible talkish format is 94.7 Fresh FM. Here's Steve Swenson. He just left New York, right? He was one of the co-market managers up in New York. He was essentially running two cool news stations in New York, WINS and WCBS AM. And he leaves, and now the New York market has suddenly gotten really interesting news-wise because this WEMP has started on FM, and it's definitely going to give a challenge to the two AM news talkers in New York, WINS and WCBS AM. And here's Steve Swenson down here in Washington, D.C., looking over kind of a busted-up, junked market. You got to look at CBS DC and say, this market's kind of a piecemeal, kind of a goofball market. What do they got down here? They got LZL. Okay, it does okay, but it's got a crummy signal. They got JFK, which is kind of a wreck of a sports talk. I mean, it's not nowhere near the glory and grandeur of Washington Superstation with Howard Stern and Don and Mike of years ago. And they got Fresh, which is like, okay, an automated station kind of whacking up against, well, not really automated, but semi-automated, whacking up against a bunch of other, none of the chick rocker thingies, none of their stations in the market really stands out. They don't have an all-newser here. They don't have a strong talker here. They don't have anybody listening to 1580. So Steve Swenson sitting over there in that office park over in Lanham, over there on Parliament Place, going, why the hell did I come down to Washington? Oh, take me back to New York where I can be in the action again. I'm sure he's saying that. I'm sure. David Bowie. Anybody remember this phonograph record free from DC 101? 1976. This is actually the February 1977 issue. Used to be able to find this at the Penguin Feathers and the Kent Mills and all that cool stuff. And there's DC 101's top albums of 1976. Anybody want to guess what number one was? That's right, Peter Frampton. Frampton Comes Alive. Anybody seen Peter Frampton these days? Remember him with those big curly locks? He's like me now, shaved head. Wings at the Speed of Sound, the number 2 album of 76. Fleetwood Mac, Bad Company, Run with the Pack. Doobie Brothers, Taking It to the Streets. Steve Miller, Fly Like an Eagle. Aerosmith, Rocks. Jefferson Starship, Spitfire. That's an album that I actually really liked a lot back then. I really liked the Jefferson Starship. America Hideaway, ELO. I'm a big fan of ELO. Face the Music. That was the number 10 album of the year. I loved Face the Music, except the one with Evil Woman on it. That is one of my favorite songs of all time. What are we seeing? If you ever watched some of these cable channels now, they're running some ad for some paint company, and they're running the ELO's Mr. Blue Sky. It's another really cool song I like from ELO. But I don't see that. What is that? Is that a good ad? I don't even know what paint brand it is All I know, it's a paint ad. Okay, here's Denise Oliver. Remember her from DC 101? Look at those eyes. Look at those eyes. They're bewitching, aren't they? And, okay, another DC 101 giant belt buckle there. All right, folks. So anyhow, we'll have some more memories from some of these. I got a couple of these from a good friend, and we will look through some of them. But that's one of the best albums of all time, actually. I love it. David Bowie, Low. Yeah. Remember Nick Lowe, David Bowie's good friend? David Bowie came out with an album called Bowie, B-O-W-I. He was saying, well, David Bowie's going to name an album after me, L-O-W, without the E on the end. I'm going to name an album after him, but without the E on the end. So he called his album B-O-W-I. There we go. All right, folks. That's Dave TV for today. Oh, wanted to talk one last thing about good old Betsy Rothstein over there at Fishbowl, D.C. She runs this thing called the Incest Desk. And she slams journalists for basically nepotism, okay? Okay, she slams Jonathan Martin for going on Meet the Press when his wife is the executive producer at the show. She slams Howie Kurtz for talking up his daughter's stuff on his CNN show. What does that have to do with incest? That has to do with, as some of the quoters have mentioned, nepotism. Betsy, you need a dictionary. You need a dictionary. Look it up. Incest. You're slamming people for the wrong vice. What an idiot. All right, folks, that's Dave TV for today. 15th of August, 2011. And don't forget to stay tuned and cut